you very much, and I welcome all of you to this session on the Learning Festival. In this session, we will talk about DevOps in app development or DevOps in mobile app development. The session itself is divided into three parts. I'll briefly talk about the background. I think the introduction also you heard about the number of smartphone users. So I'll briefly talk about the background, talking about the numbers first in terms of the staggering revenue numbers, followed by the application development numbers, and then more closer to the context of what's happening within Singapore context on app space. And then I'll jump over to DevOps and briefly talk about DevOps in a nutshell, and then how DevOps goes beyond Agile, and within that context, a little bit more on Agile, and then move on to mobile app development using DevOps, and specifically talking about some of the DevOps continuous integration and continuous delivery, and then logically helping you get started on how do you start this journey from this point forward. The entire discussion I have paced it for about 30 to 35 minutes, and after that I'll open up for the questions. So feel free to type in your questions. Your moderator will be able to capture those questions and then direct it to me for the responses. In case if we have time insufficiency, then you may want to even send those questions to your moderator, who will in turn send it to me for a response that we can send it to you through email as well. So without much ado, let me get started with the background, right? So I did talk about, before I even get to the background, one more disclaimer that I have to make. All of the information and data that you see is available on the public domain. I have given credits from the data points that the information is shared, and you may want to get into those direct data points as well. Right, so with that, let me get started on the background and context. Within the background and context, I'll briefly talk about some of the numbers in revenue, right, for the year 2020. We are seeing some surge. We constantly see the surge of numbers, which you will also see, and it's now at a 111 billion revenue, which is a 24% increase year on year. iOS was responsible for 65% of the total app revenue in 2020. Games alone accounted for about 71% of the total app revenue. iOS generated about 47.6 billion revenue, while Google Play made 31.9 billion revenue. Now, just moving out of the game space, right? So, which perhaps is what will be of interest to most of us. So, outside of the games itself, like iOS was responsible for about 76% of the 32.1 billion revenue generated, and Google Play generated about 6.7 billion non-gaming revenue as against iOS revenue of 24.7 billion. The rest of the numbers are attributed to other platforms as well. Subscription revenues increased to about 13 billion. iOS was responsible for 79% of the revenue. Now, all of these numbers are taken from the app data report of 2021, right? So if you really look at on the right side, right, so year on year quarterly revenue is on an increasing number, and today we are seeing that over 25 million average quarter, 25 billion, sorry, average quarterly revenue. It was only going to go up, and this data, as you can see in itself, is a bit the report was published in 2021. Data was as of second quarter 2020. As we see, the data points have also changed in that order of the last few months as well. So that's the revenue background and context in the mobile space. And if you just translate that a bit to, let's say, on application side, right? So we have about 14 million app developers, both on iOS as well as Google Play Store, and we get to see about 3 million plus new apps a year, quite a staggering number. And if you just roughly translate into numbers per day, right? So you have about 2,300 apps deployed every day between Google Play as well as the Apple stores, which kind of roughly translate into one app every minute, right? So I mean, again, as I said, these reports are about a quarter old, and it is only getting better and better over time. Now, what is of more important now at this stage is that it's one is to look at the new app that's coming out, and which we are seeing about one app a minute. You also look at the number of updates that are happening to these apps, which is about approximately 300 app updates a minute. Whether you know it or not, within your own working space of mobile, there are so many updates are happening. Maybe you will have handful of apps in your mobile phones, but then within the global space, there are 300 app updates are happening a minute. That roughly translated into something is happening in terms of feature update or a functional update or an aesthetic update or a look and feel update or whichever update that requires to be incorporated in newer releases are happening, and that is also happening at a very fast pace, right, in relation to the 2,400 apps that we are seeing. And we just heard on the welcome note, right? See, the global number of smartphone users as at that time was 3.5 billion, which is well over 4 billion. Now the number of devices is 7.94 billion, which has also surpassed 8.2 billion as we speak, right? So number of app downloads in a quarter is about 37.8 million, and as we speak, it has already surpassed about 39 million app downloads, right, in a quarter. So those are the number and context for which that you will have to understand in terms of what's happening within the mobile context on a global space. Now, I just wanted to funnel this to what's happening within Singapore space, right? So we are talking about the learning within the Singapore, and if you really look at the global context, everything is happening at a pace before you think. There is something that's deployed in quick time, and therefore, you can't be left behind. You have to be on par with what's happening within the market, and therefore, time is very important. And quality, reliability, and availability is also extremely important. And in order to get all of these things together, DevOps is the go-to choice for app development. DevOps is the go-to choice even beyond app development, but for the context of our conversation, I would think and believe DevOps is the go-to choice for app development. Now, as I said, if I funnel down the statistics back to what's happening within Singapore context, revenue in the app segment is projected to reach about $9 million US dollars in 2021, expected at an annual growth rate of about 5.37%, resulting in a projected market volume of US dollar 10 million by 2024 progressively. In the app segment, the number of users is expected to amount to 1.6 million by 2024. User penetration will be 25.4% in 2021, and it is expected to hit 27% in 2024. The ARPU, which is a key measurement unit in mobile app space as well as mobile subscription space, ARPU is considered the basis for computing the revenue on an aggregated basis. ARPU is expected to amount to about US dollar 5.82 per user, right? What's more important, the last statement in that, in global comparison, most revenues, even within Singapore, will be generated by United States is something that we have to take note. Again, these are all the things that are published by the Statista report of 2021. So This is all in public domain, right? So again, on a snapshot basis, we are looking at about 9 million US dollar revenue in 2021. The revenue growth is at 11.1%. Users are at 1.6 million by 2024. So why this background essentially is that as you can see, I mean, we saw the numbers and then we just saw the numbers translating into what's happening within the mobile space, as in the number of things that are being released. So which means things are happening at a rapid pace, and we can't be left behind, and therefore it is very, very important that we take cognizance of what is required to be done, and therefore the logical choice is to take advantage of the DevOps. Now with that, I'll just move over to talk about DevOps in a nutshell, and then DevOps versus Agile also in some brief context, right? So what is DevOps? I'm sure some of you have seen this or heard or learned in many of the forum, right? So imagine a world where product owners, be it software developers or quality assurance folks or IT operations engineers and systems engineers, the information security, all of them working together to ensure the overall organization success, right? So how do you ensure that? By working towards a common goal to enable faster flow of planned work. I mean, time to market, time to value is extremely important. Time to market was thought to be important earlier. Time to market is not sufficient anymore. Time to value is more important than time to market. So at least to get you started with time to market, it's important for you to do an introspection of where you are today, and then it is, I mean, think about all of these things working together, and to achieve a world-class stability, reliability, availability, and security. Security is also extremely important within the space. Consumers are increasingly becoming conscious in terms of what they are signing up to. Slowly getting into the fact of before downloading even the app, they are looking at the things that they are exposed to. It's not quite surprising even when we see as simple application as Torchlight is asking permission to look at the locations and things like that. Now, I mean, all of the consumers are getting more and more intelligent and cognizant of the fact what they are getting up to, and therefore security is also extremely important, right? So on the right side, you see that is the definition of DevOps of sorts, right? It's a cultural and professional movement that stresses communication and collaboration and integration between the software development and the IT operations, and automating the process of software delivery and infrastructure changes altogether, right? So what you must remember is that DevOps has been there since 29, which is about 12 years. From an initiative or a movement perspective, it is still young and maturing and rapidly developing, and already we have seen a lot of positivity and a lot of positive results impacting business, and therefore it's not going to be a choice anymore. I mean, if you don't be, I mean, if you want to be within the mobile app development or software and development and operation space, then DevOps is the go-to space that you have to be in, right? So why DevOps is successful so far and will continue to be that way is that it's a people movement of sorts, right? So it was all created for the people by the people, and along the way taking advantages of several of the framework that we can take forward. Like for example, some of the mandatory things that has to be fulfilled, as in the information security and the demands of the customer, all of the good working critical frameworks are taken together in DevOps, right? So if you try to think about it, I mean, it's a clear marriage of sorts in terms of uh, um, traditional success of the framework system, building that into a people movement with a lot of autonomy in terms of what it can function. So that's a kind of what DevOps is into. And if I have to talk about DevOps in a nutshell, right, or I would rather call it as the left, right, and center of DevOps, right? So you see the on the left side, you see the agile methodology or software development in that perspective in terms of identifying the opportunity, understanding the requirement, and evaluate and build and then deploy, right? So you constantly do that by having to have a minimum viable product, as it is called, or build something that is of functional, and then make sure that is already visible to the customer for getting customer collaboration. So that's the model that is, I mean, that has evolved over time, from the time software development started its roots with waterfall model. And on the right side, you see things that are related to service operations, as in incident management, problem management, knowledge management, service level management, and event management. Now these two things, if you really look at, is talking about a mindset, and then something that you have to work with in terms of fulfilling the needs. Now the center, what I talk about, the left, right, and center of the DevOps is the continuous integration, continuous delivery, continuous deployment, is the creation of the ecosystem by leveraging the automation extensively within this space, right? So by, in order to achieve what you have to do in terms of software development, and go much beyond software development into IT operations, and then make that, I mean, entire chain of sequence in terms of having this into a value stream to create value to the end customer, and bring in a very strong feedback loop of continually improving upon the entire chain of actions. Now let me just dive a little bit more into Agile, the left side of the one that we talked about. For those that have been in IT space, at least to me, that I've been in this space for about 33 years, two-thirds of which was in software development and one-third in IT operations. So I have seen the traditional transformation of software development from waterfall model and iterative development model, and progressively into agile development model. The key differentiators from those is that individual and interactions are kind of weighed over processes and tools, and working software is viewed as a better parameter of measurement, instead of having to have comprehensive documentation, right? So comprehensive documentation traditionally has been that you kind of have a business case, and business case is translated into software requirement specification. Software requirement specification are changed into high level and low level designs, and then parallelly your test team starts writing test planning. And before the software developer gets his hand on the code, substantial time is lost, as in, like, before the software developer touches the code to do something or to create something, it's already several months old, was the traditional method. And therefore agile advocates the working software over comprehensive documentation. You build something progressively to the customer, and then get the customer inputs, and then make sure that you build this more inclusive, rather than having to isolate yourself completely from the customer collaboration, and therefore is extremely important as against contract negotiation. Responding to change is more important than following a plan, and you can't be rigid. And what essentially it talks about is that it is more important to be agile than doing agile. If you are saying that you are doing agile, but you are doing it slowly, and traditionally falling back into the methodology of waterfall, you are no longer an agile. Therefore doing agile is more important. And how do you do, I mean, how being agile is more important. Then how do you demonstrate that? Be customer centric and be lean, be collaborative and communicative, which is very very important, and adaptive. And then, I mean, you can't be very rigid in what you are working with the customer, right? So you can't say that the requirement doors are closed, and whatever the requirements that you are going to give in will be coming in only in the next release, and so on and so forth. And therefore you have to be extremely customer centric, and then along the way that you have to be extremely collaborative and communicative and adapt to the customer requirement. And if you see the bottom portion of the screen, right? So traditionally, I mean, there is always this misconception of when we say agile, you do things. I mean, in incremental basis, right? So that's not necessarily true. You do things incrementally, but then you do things incrementally that are working, that has some sort of a visibility to the customer, and that customer can contribute progressively into seeing and knowing what the final outcome that he is going to get. And along the way, even you can sense a lot of inputs that are coming in, and provide the value, customer value, right at the end of the chain. So we talked about agile. So how does it compare versus DevOps, right? So there is always this kind of a famous saying, right? For some reason, agile has been there for a while, and for some reason, agile seemed to have inadvertently left out IT operations from its scheme of things, because it's highly development focused. Even now, that's how it is, and therefore it's very essential that you have an end-to-end action, because your customers looks at the entire set of actions as in using your product as one, and they'll not be able to categorize you whether you are from a software development or an IT operation. The moment of truth is that I mean, whatever they get to see or feel at which different point in time is how they are going to form an impression and perception about you. And it is no longer good that you are able to develop and deliver faster. It also has to be functional, and it has to have the other aspects of having the wherewithal to support whatever it needs to be within the production environment as well. So DevOps goes much beyond agile, as in moves very much into the entire spectrum of things, from starting until the value is created. That includes development and operations along the way, all of the testing that are required in between, right? So that's the kind of brief context about background of I mean, where we are in mobile, and then DevOps in a nutshell, and then a little bit more detail on agile. Now let's jump into a conversation on the mobile app development, DevOps in mobile app development, and then we will look at some of the elements of the continuous integration, continuous delivery, and then some inputs in terms of how you can help yourself in getting started in taking this action and initiative forward, right? So why DevOps for mobile app development? I mean, we all know mobile is unique, and there are, I mean, therefore the approaches that are required to develop are plenty. I mean, in terms of, I mean, a corner store guy can kind of get in and then develop an app as quickly as he can. And as an enterprise and organization, you may be competing with somebody who has had no baggage of sorts in terms of having to do it. And therefore, it is important to incorporate the unique practices into your mobile development process. Through DevOps can be extremely fruitful and helpful in terms of being the game changer, as in that you can be really agile, and you can be delivering things faster to market, taking advantage of the continuous integration, continuous testing, and continuous delivery, and therefore be able to be part of the race and win the race as well. Now let's look at some of the things that are there in mobile app development, right? If you really look at on the left side, the requirement set, right? Mobile requires rapid iterations, right? By the time you get your app into your app stores, there could be competing product, and therefore the reliance is on automated deployment pipeline, so that you can do things much faster and deploy it quickly, and reduce the rollout time for new iterations. If you keep the iterations progressive, small increments, you can do more deployments. And once you do more and more deployments, which are exposed to your app usage, then you also be able to understand the integration problems early, right? And enables the team to react faster to the user feedbacks as well. And mobile apps have a much higher expectations, right? So I mean, customer are seeing the apps already, and they there, and therefore their expectation, perceptional expectation, is also higher. And why I mean, what mobile DevOps can help you is to enable instant reporting and feedback, which we also get used to. I mean, for any app that is there in App Store or in Google Play Store, you see the rating, and perhaps we take that as an input for us to be even taking a decision to download an app or not. And combined with all the NPS, Net Promoter Score, and other mechanisms that are constantly being built in. So these expectations can be met by enabling the instant reporting and feedback. And on tool space, as we speak, I mean, tool development, tool space is expanding at a very, very rapid pace in overall DevOps and software development context as well, and as it relates to mobile as well, right? So, and therefore take advantage of all the manual tasks and implement systems in which code configuration, scripts, and everything that is required to be done across the platforms, and still track all of them, right? And it's also fragmented. We all know that there are so many types of devices available, and the platform is also fragmented. And I mean, with the DevOps, you also have the opportunity and the advantages of having multiple simulators and creating a parallel testing, and then move on to real device testing as well. So, I mean, I'm just kind of funneling this down to further actions into continuous integration and delivery. This is something that has been seen as historical pain point, right? So, the code merging or code conflict has been a constant challenge, creating a lot of issues around retrofitting and forward fitting in software development, and the ecosystem of software development. And continuous integration is kind of bringing that together in terms of seamlessly making builds. And then if you start having the habit of enforcing code commit on a daily basis, your code is always merged, and that kind of an ecosystem can be created through your continuous integration and continuous delivery. And that is to be combined with your continuous testing and monitoring. And this is, even as I speak, as of the latest report that's published by the Upskill and State of DevOps report, if you are following those reports constantly, testing has been the number one challenge even now. And in terms of proportionate testing between automated testing and manual testing is still at a higher order, right, in comparison. But then the continuous testing tool offers you to constantly automate, and there will be scenarios in which the manual testing will remain in every system as you build newer and newer features. But then the ability to constantly invest and then automate your testing is the business benefits are huge. You can always automate up to the previous point of your feature, fully automated, which is possible, proven, right? And whatever is the incremental features that you are building in are the only ones that you have to rely on manual testing, and from the next cycle onwards it becomes integrated into your automated testing. And then continuous performance monitoring to identify the failures caused by any third-party software development kits, or adding the third-party development kits as well. And combined with the continuous quality control in terms of monitoring customer voices on app stores, play stores, which I talked about in terms of different feedback mechanisms that are available today. Now, how does this work, right? The CI/CD on a snapshot, if I have to talk about. Again, all of this, whatever you see throughout the presentation, many of which you can find on the public domain as well. It's not rocket science of sorts in that sense, but putting this together in your own ecosystem will be the action from that standpoint. So developers write code for the configurable, components, and then build the code, and then test the code, package the code, release the code, configure the code, and monitor code. Somewhere along the line, you will also tend to get a feeling of that this is all sequential and giving you a kind of a context of doing one after the other like a waterfall model. But the key differentiating factor is that you create an ecosystem and an automated tool chain environment, that it is the entire ecosystem is going to help you build this faster and better, and combined with your automated testing, it's going to be really rapid and much faster. Taken that there are things that are happening in sequential, but it is going to happen in real quick time, and that can be leveraged through your DevOps tool chains. The picture that you see, it's just a mere depiction of some of the popular tools that you can take advantage, but from within the mobile space, it is still a much larger tool sets, and that you can use and leverage in terms of planning, coding, building, automating your test, and then integrating again onto the ops space into deploy, operate, and monitor. Right, there are several tools that are available in terms of sequencing all of this. Now, it may look quite simplistic in whatever I have explained so far. Can it be that simple? And can I get in and then get started now? Maybe the question that you may have in your mind, right? So the easiest thing is to kind of have this 4A approach, as I would call it, as is to have assess, activate, architect, and automate. Assess where you are today. In case if not in case, it is the order of the day in some sense. So it's better that you get started in terms of doing some assessment of yourself in terms of where you are today. There are many models available, which I will talk about in the next slide. And then create a roadmap of action. Embrace all of the frameworks such as the Agile, ITIL, and ITSM frameworks to fulfill your needs and fulfill your resource requirement. When I say resource requirement, it also includes skilling and upskilling your existing resources, and hires, and so on and so forth. Then architect, this is a very important part when you want to start your journey on DevOps, right? So create an architectural roadmap, slice and dice layer, as in that monolithic structure has been thought about to be one of the big bottlenecks for legacy organization, or perhaps the biggest bottleneck. And therefore look at your architecture with deeper sense, and then slice them into layers of microservices, so that you increase deployability, and then you can enrich features as we progress, and then slice it to the extent and degree that it is completely seamlessly integrated as a product, as well as providing the advantage of taking the CI/CD to the next level. And then look at the automation elements. And the starting point of automation in itself will be to optimize your architecture and automate testing. In any automation, the easiest point is to kind of start with testing and implement continuous integration and continuous delivery. Now, let me do a little bit of a deep dive on these things that I talked about on 4As, right? So assessment, if you are wondering what would this entail, there are many options that are available with many providers today. Typically, the assessments are based on the core DevOps values, which is culture, automation, lean, measurement, and sharing. And it focuses on improvement versus fulfillment, right? That's the most important thing. You have to change the status quo, challenge the status quo in terms of what you are doing, in terms of getting yourself adapted to DevOps. And the recommendations are usually based on organizational objectives. And as we speak, I think DevOps Institute also bringing in an assessment framework in terms of improvising the DevOps initiative and adoption, right? So why it is important? If you really look at the software enterprise today, about 20% of large enterprises are already DevOps shops. And many of the organizations, about 39% of many organizations have started at least DevOps in many different products and projects within themselves, covering about 40 to 60% of our their development space. And another about 15% or so already have had initiation of DevOps at least in one project. So that's the statistics you can again find in state of DevOps report as well, right? So DevOps is not something that is a kind of a stated prescription for all your pain points. It's not going to be one size that fits all. So it's important that you choose your path that fits your strategy, and for doing that, start with an assessment. Now, activate, right? I mean, the next one is to get in terms of looking at things in creating a DevOps ecosystem, and then embrace critical framework. Agile principles are thought to be extremely important, while there are the practices such as Scrum are there and existing, but the advocacy within DevOps scheme of things is that agile principles are more important than any specific practices. Similarly, take advantage of ITSM practices, which are essential and is for you to showcase your success to your stakeholders, especially in your offerings and contractual obligations. And then look at lean constantly in terms of how you can eliminate waste from the entire continuous integration and delivery value chain. And start smaller, right? So it's always better to start smaller with one project so that you can measure the outcome easily, and the success or the outcomes can be easily demonstrated. If there are failure in your starting point, it should be treated as a learning and don't get discouraged, right? So you got to act now, and you're only as good as your last release, right? So you're not going to live forever with the uh, pride of what you have done a few years ago. I mean, you always have to be current, and that we have seen as we start saying things that are growing in mobile space and beyond mobile into software development space as well. And then the third important element is architect, right? So at least for legacy organization, this has been, as I said, right, has been a challenge, and kind of try to break down the layers of your architecture, focus a lot on microservices to increase agility, and therefore you give a lot of autonomous to the different teams within your ecosystem to control those microservices. And if you have a very strong integration through API, decoupling them will be easier. Decoupling of services enables parallel development without having to hamper the overall integrity of the system. And microservices are also allows for fast and independent delivery of individual parts. What it all combines, and then to tell you, is that the release should be a routine and not a drama, right? We have all seen time and again that every major release causes a lot of pain, and then there is a ecosystem created to support with a hypercare or incident resolution and so on and so forth. The only way you get up there is to kind of slice and dice your architecture and take advantages of the DevOps ecosystem offerings in continuous integration and continuous delivery, and then move on to automation, right? So automation lead to obviously faster lead times and you can do more frequent releases and less turbulent releases. What that means is that if you have a smallest feature that have to be done, it need not have to wait for a larger release to make the releases smaller, and that becomes integrated into your core system, and therefore it's less riskier, and you have the ability to release faster and better, right? And remember one thing, I mean, your tool alone will not make you successful. I mean, you got to choose what best fits within your own ecosystem. And you don't have to depend on a single vendor ecosystem of tools is also something you have to consider, right? So within the automation, implement a version control of choice. I mean, this list is not exhaustive. You have so many other options available. The most common or kind of eye-catching ones are there here on this slide, like your Git and Bitbucket and SVN. And write automated test for critical elements. That's going to be hammered time and again, because it's even as of the latest skill ups upskill report, as well as the state of DevOps report. That's considered as one of the pain points, or the kind of the proportionate or manual to automate testing is still higher. So keep investing on automation, especially on test automation, and then make sure that you get a better business value out of it. Choose suitable CI/CD service which would enable running the test on every push to the repository. Again, this list is not exhaustive. These are some of the tools that are there, and I'm sure there are plenty out there. And there is also a report, if you keep seeing that, which is published by CBA as what is called the DevOps periodic table, which tries and incorporates most popular tools. So you can get into those public domain to see the tool ecosystem at large, and then choose what you can for your own ecosystem. So what are the paybacks that you can expect, right? So within this is, you have improved customer experience, and you have much faster release time, increased innovation. And as you increase your release time, you reduce your risk, and therefore, as a result, your stability of the software is also better, and progressively reduced infrastructure cost, and then reduce downtime to put action into production, as well as reduced downtime on your incidents, and things that comes out of your um, operations as well. And just a last slide of statistics before we open it up for the questions. This is where we are in Singapore in terms of use of mobile apps by category. Again, I've given credits to the publisher here, which you can take a look at it from the public domain also. If you really look at it, 92% of the mobile app usage is on chat apps, followed by the social networking, and closely followed by the entertainment and map apps, right? So if you just leave out this, at least from those that I understand, part of the conversation is going to be much beyond those things, and can be relatable to other areas. So try and choose your space where you want to be. And if you have to be in mobile app development space, and DevOps is going to be the way forward. So with that concluding note, I'll leave this forum open for questions, and I'll just pause here and wait for the questions from the moderator. I encourage to ask you questions, and as you can see, I mean, this is just a kind of trigger point of initiation of conversation, and you can take this a long way forward in terms of upskilling and training yourself more into DevOps. So with that, I'll open it up for any questions that you have. Over to the host for capturing any questions. Okay, I see there are no questions so far. Maybe I can give a couple of more minutes to see if there are questions. As I said during the initial point of conversation, that if you have questions that comes across to your mind, you can send an email. You can send your questions to the host, who will direct the questions to me, and I can respond to any questions offline as well. Okay, I'll give a couple of more minutes. Okay, so to the host, therefore, I think I don't see any questions, and it doesn't look like I also have lesser visibility to the participants. So, in case if you get any questions, please direct them to me. And I have shared this presentation to the host and others, so you may be able to take, I mean, get the uh, PowerPoint presentation from them in case if you want to do any offline reading. And I take this opportunity to thank Gautek for giving us this opportunity to speak on mobile uh, DevOps in mobile app development. If you don't have any questions, we can conclude the session. Thank you very much.